Every single last drop won't be satisfied, baby, till you begging me to stop. Oops, there you go, it's that boy again. I mean, that cocky motherfucker, all he do is win. I mean, the empty sense of love comes inside my undercover. Fuck around and put that rubber, throw straight of it like another. Oh my god, that's too mean. These cars on that lean. They say when they hear my voice, it's like promethazine. They fiend when I make them moist, driven through the gains. So I slurp them up and don't stop until they clean. Shawty getting rough, she cut me, don't give a fuck. Shades of you know precise, she drugged and tied me up. Good thing I'm a savage, so simple, always manage. Flip up the script, leave it pinned out to the mattress. Till I die, these amolas call me senpai. Girl, I'm young the race, suck your blood till it runs dry. Staring at those legs, getting tranced by those thigh highs. Being hypnotized, so enthralled by those boy eyes. Oh my, it's the king of the icky. Fangirls worldwide saying my voice is sexy. I don't care what you say, I know one thing, shit, they all love you like I do.
just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, you're freaky cool. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, we should hang out sometime at my place. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, you're freaky cool. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I've been listening to your tunes all week. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, you're freaky cool. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, we should hang out sometime at my place. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, you're freaky cool. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I've been listening to your tunes all week. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, cool. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, you're pretty cool. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, cool. I just wanna say, we should hang out sometime at my place. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, cool. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, you're pretty cool. I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I just wanna say, I've been listening to your tunes all week. Pretty cool.
ミーヤ、ほら帰るぞ。やだ。っていうかみんな待ってんだって。やだ。もうほらミオちゃん。リツ。はいはい帰りましょうね。黒のストッキング、純白のエプロン、そしてメイドカチューシャ。新たな
cup is just fine with only. It's you till I die, till I die, till I die. Shawty so kawaii, so kawaii, so kawaii. A cup is just fine with only. A cup is just fine with.
よろしくお願いします先輩。
One, two, baby, what it do? We can take it back to my place, show you what we do like. 1, 2, baby. baby, what it do? We can take it back to my place, show you what we do like. 1, 2, baby, what it do? We can take it back to my place, show you what we do like. 1, 2, baby, what it do? We can take it back to my place, show you what we do. And it may be elevating to you, what we from the taking, superstars, we in the making, and you know we never faking. If you try to come and make it, then you gotta go and break it. Ain't no head out in the game, no, you gotta go create it. I've been straight grinding since a boy 18. Now I'm 21 and strong with my wife routine. 2D girls be my life, man, that's all I breathe. So if you down with the movement, you can roll with me, bitch. Roll with me, roll with me. 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 All my dogs just got a cop, yo, moto gave me tops. See me flying up to LA just to buy body top. Kids, that girl's always unlocked, if I just cannot be stopped. If she ain't gon' fall back, then I'ma hit her with that block. Since I do more shot, killing 2016. Shout out to the cute motos, always repping our team. Kids, I do more shot, killing 2016. We gon' do it for the wife, just keep on living the dream, yeah.
Tell you something I'm bad at. I am terrible at making clickbait. Up until 2 years ago, my most popular video was about a basketball being dropped from a dam with a bit of backspin. It takes off like a rocket and shoots out way further than you'd expect. This video was embedded on literally hundreds of news websites, and in its first week it got 16.3 million views. But almost none of those views came on the YouTube platform. Why? Because I gave it this thumbnail and I called it Strange Applications of the Magnus Effect. This video is sponsored by KiwiCo. More about them at the end of the show. Now, I believe within YouTube, I'm used as an example of how not to package your video. As if to demonstrate just how bad a title and thumbnail this is, someone else re-uploaded the video with the clever title, Basketball Dropped from Dam. And within a few weeks, that video had received tens of millions of views on YouTube. This is when YouTube gave me access to Content ID. That's the system that allows you to earn revenue when someone else re-uploads your videos, which was good, but I still wasn't very good at clickbait. So for this video, I called in an expert. I wanted to see your reaction face. Can you give me like a reaction face? Like, what's a good thumbnail face?
Oh, I got you. This is the thumbnail face. I have like 10 I go through the motions of, like, and then we just take the best one. I probably have like 500 of these just saved, and we could just Photoshop my face on my face. So I don't even really have to do it anymore.
When I started on this platform some 10 years ago, clickbait was less important. Subscribers were what mattered because most of the views came from the subfeed, and videos went viral usually by getting a lot of attention elsewhere, like on Reddit or Facebook, not due to the YouTube algorithm. But once you had a big video and people subscribed, well then your next video would likely get a lot of views from those subscribers. So YouTube would take that popular video and share it with more people, and so you'd get more subscribers in a positive feedback loop. But soon YouTube realized that this did not create the best experience for the viewer. They discovered that showing people only videos from channels they were subscribed to led to fewer clicks, less watch time, and less engagement with the site as a whole. Plus, they knew that relying on other platforms to drive traffic to viral hits was risky, since those other platforms might disable the traffic at any time. So they needed to make YouTube a destination in itself. They wanted people to come to YouTube, see videos that interested them, click on at least one of them, and watch it for a while. Ideally, get sucked down the YouTube rabbit hole and spend hours on the site without even noticing it. The ultimate resource is people's time and attention, and every platform is trying to capture as much of it as possible. So to make YouTube this go-to destination, they had to decrease the importance of subscribers, make it less like a podcast app where you only get the shows you're subscribed to, and more like Reddit, where stuff with the most engagement rises to the top. But that necessarily meant increasing the importance of clickbait. Now, there seems to be a paradox when it comes to clickbait. People almost universally claim to hate it, but you also see it everywhere. So why is this? Well, one of the problems is we don't all agree on the definition of clickbait. When I Google it, the top definition is, on the internet, content whose main purpose is to attract attention and encourage visitors to click on a link to a particular web page. We could call this type 1 clickbait, and there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it. I mean, if you didn't try to attract attention and get people to click on your links, then you wouldn't really be doing your job. But there is a second definition, one that I think more people ascribe to, which is something such as a headline designed to make readers want to click on a hyperlink, especially when the link leads to content of dubious value or interest. Wikipedia says a defining characteristic of clickbait is that it is sensationalized or misleading. And it also talks about teasers that intentionally withhold information to exploit the curiosity gap. They give you enough information to make you curious, but not enough to satisfy that curiosity. Here are two actual titles from a news website. 9 out of 10 Americans are completely wrong about this mind-blowing fact. And someone gave some kids some scissors. Here's what happened next. I think we can all agree that these are examples of bad type 2 clickbait. Now imagine a clickbait space where on one axis you have how misleading or sensationalized it is, and on the other, how much information is intentionally withheld to create a curiosity gap. Well, then these two titles fall in the top right corner. And these are the zones of type 2 clickbait. At the other extreme, you have things that are so unsensationalized as to be dull. You could call this the dead zone. Now here is where you would find strange applications of the Magnus effect. I mean, I didn't tell you what the applications were. Now in the middle is where you would find type 1 clickbait. But honestly, I think type 1 and type 2 clickbait are so different that we shouldn't even use the same word for them. Instead of type 1 clickbait, my friend and YouTuber Brady Heron suggested legit bait. I mean, it might sound enticing, but it is legit. Instead of type 2 clickbait, we could use click trap, click trick, link trap, or dupe shoot. What's important to recognize is that for any given video, there is no one true title and thumbnail. Each video could have hundreds or thousands of different legit bait titles. For example, how does a zero-G plane work? I went on a plane that does parabolic trajectories. What happens to fire on a zero-G plane? Now, the most enticing titles and thumbnails are found close to type 2 clickbait. I'm reminded of the infographic by Smarter Every Day showing that on social media, the greatest engagement occurs close to the boundary of what's allowable. But remember that everyone's definition of clickbait is different, and everyone's perceptions of words and images are different. So these are not clear boundaries, they're actually kind of fuzzy. What for one person might be legit bait, for someone else could be a click trap. What's clear is that on a site where click-through rate is important, clickbait of all types is inevitable.
How important to a video's success is the title and thumbnail?
Very important, of course. If they don't click on the video, they don't watch it. You can't get 10 million views unless 10 million people click on the video. So, I mean, it's literally that simple. If they don't click on it, they don't watch it.
So why is clickbait everywhere? Well, because it works. More enticing thumbnails get more clicks, despite some people's claims that they won't click or they'll unsub. It's just like evolution. Whatever survives multiplies, and traits become amplified. If you don't begrudge the giraffe its long neck so it can reach the highest leaves, can you begrudge a YouTuber the big red arrow that allows them to reach further audiences? I talked about this in my video 2 years ago. To be successful as a YouTuber, you need to optimize two things: watch time and the click-through rate of your videos. That's the number of times the title and thumbnail are clicked divided by the total number of times they're shown. That's the number of impressions. Now, at the time, this was something of a revelation for me, because I always thought my job was to make great videos, and then a title and thumbnail that adequately represented what the video was about. But now I've realized that making the title and thumbnail is at least half the job. This is not just because better titles and thumbnails get you more clicks, but because better titles and thumbnails will get you way more impressions. YouTube has limited real estate with which to show you virtually infinite content, and so it's not enough to make a good video, even if people watch all of it. You also have to make a title and thumbnail that gets clicked, especially in competition with other really good titles and thumbnails. That's the only way you can expect YouTube to give you more impressions. Now, the big development since my last video on this is YouTube introduced real-time metrics like views, impressions, and click-through rate. And I suggested this would create an arms race.
So what you can bet will happen is that creators will launch a video, and then they'll be sitting there with all these different variants of thumbnails, and they'll be swapping them out and looking at what that does to click-through rate, and then going with the one that leads to the greatest click-through rate.
And this is basically what has happened. Let me give you my favorite example. Last year, I made a video about asteroids, which I thought was really good. I called it Asteroids, Earth's Biggest Threat, which is something Stephen Hawking said. And people were very positive about the video. They thought it was maybe one of my best. But the performance was well below average. In its first day, Asteroids was ranked 9th out of my previous 10 videos. It was probably on target for about 1.5 million views. So I tried different titles and thumbnails like Asteroid Impact, what are our chances? Or Asteroid Impact, what could we do? But none of these changes got much traction. And then on day 3 after launch, I changed the title and thumbnail to These Are the Asteroids to Worry About. And immediately, the video started doing better. It quickly shot up from almost my worst performing video to my best. It now has 14 million views. Nothing about the video changed, just that one image and 38 characters. But because of that, the video has reached nearly 10 times as many people as it otherwise would have. And the title and thumbnail accurately describe what the video is about. I mean, sure, there's a curiosity gap, but you couldn't explain the whole concept in the length of the title. So if you see a YouTuber changing titles and thumbnails, this is why. Because that effort can be rewarded many times over. I've seen people objecting to this practice because they think the creator is trying to dupe their audience, get them to click on the same video more than once, but that's not it. The whole point is to get YouTube to show the title and thumbnail to more people. We're trying to increase the number of impressions, which is heavily dependent on the click-through rate. Now, a lot of my recent videos have this typical view curve. There's an initial spike after I release the video, and then a dip, and then a second bump after I have figured out a better title and thumbnail. I change the title and thumbnail and I watch the real-time view graph. What I'm looking for is a noticeable bump in views. Sometimes there's no change, sometimes it gets worse, but on occasions when you see something like this, well then you know you've found a winner. This is something all the big YouTubers are doing. Not even Mr. Beast knows exactly which thumbnail will work best beforehand.
Have you ever changed a title and thumbnail and then the video did better?
Oh, of course. So every video I usually make like 2 or 3 thumbnails, and then if it's not doing as well as I want, we usually just swap them out and see if it does better. The thing is, like, you don't really know. I mean, you could know if you just were an almighty being that could just predict what people would be interested in. But you know, usually, like if you do hide and seek, you don't really know if like you hiding in a tree and then someone walking below you is a good thumbnail, or if you hiding in a trash can and then walking in front of you. So, you know, just do both and then see which one interests people a little bit more.
I feel the same way, but I do feel like you have a better sense of this than like most people.
Of course. I mean, no one gets 40 million views a video.
But what is the point in getting more views? If you're cynical, you might say it's all about money and fame. And while there are certainly financial incentives to getting more views, that's not why I do it. As an educational YouTuber, I think there are 2 very good reasons for using excellent Type 1 clickbait over more straightforward packaging. To understand the first reason, let's consider 2 different possible titles for my most recent video. I called it The Simplest Math Problem No One Can Solve. But it's a video about the Collatz conjecture, so perhaps a more straightforward title would have been simply to call it that. The problem is, if I publish a video called The Collatz Conjecture, the most likely people to click on it are those who already know what the Collatz conjecture is. And the vast majority of people will never have heard of it. So for them, the title is meaningless, and only the very curious or those who really like Veritasium would click. In contrast, calling it the simplest math problem no one can solve conveys more information about the video to everyone. And this means more people can click on it, most of whom will never have heard of the Collatz conjecture, so I get to teach them something new. And since the video has a higher click-through rate, YouTube shows it to even more people. So if my aim is to increase the level of knowledge in the world by the maximum amount possible, this is the way to do it. The second reason we need to optimize titles and thumbnails is to support the major goal of this channel. We are trying to make the best science films on every topic we tackle. That means traveling to meet experts and film experiments, hiring people to build props, make spectacular animations, research and fact check. We hire expert consultants to double and triple check our work. I don't want to make vlogs. I want to make science documentaries on YouTube that put broadcasts to shame. And to make this possible and sustainable, the videos have to get views, and lots of them. And to do that, we have to make the best titles and thumbnails we can. YouTuber and Patreon CEO Jack Conte has talked about adjusting your packaging. The idea is know what you're passionate about, what you won't compromise on, and that stuff goes in the box. All the rest, like what paper it's wrapped in, that's the packaging. So the video is my focus, and the title and thumbnail are the packaging that I'm happy to adjust so I can make the type of videos that are important to me. Now, is it ironic that a channel whose whole purpose is to promote a truth-seeking mindset has to experiment at the edge of what is truthful in order to fulfill that purpose? It is something that I often worry about.
You know, when I did like risking my life to do X, it's like, well, what probability of death does there have to be for you to risk your life? Like 50%?
I love how he always overthinks things. That's funny. He's like, is my life risked enough where I risk my life? You know, I only had a 9% chance of dying, and I need at least a 13% chance. He is so funny. He was the same way 2 years ago when he asked me all this stuff. I was like, dude, just do whatever makes the most sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I feel like my instincts are not good.
But what I realized is that I don't have to trust my instincts. This problem of getting the best title and thumbnail, well, it's a scientific problem. We're just asking which accurate representation of the video will get the most clicks from a general audience. And that's a problem we can use the scientific method to solve. So I've hired a couple of really bright people, and we spend a lot of time brainstorming and making titles and thumbnails and testing them out. For example, on Twitter and Patreon. Veritasium titles and thumbnails have gotten better, not because I'm better at it, but because of my team and our testing. If you have ideas about how we could do it better, please get in touch. The results have often contradicted what I expected. I mean, this video seemed to perform 10% better when we excluded the word surprising from the title, so it became simply The Secret of Synchronization. I thought these two titles were basically a toss-up, but Patreon had a strong preference for one over the other. What's interesting about this research is that the more clickable titles and thumbnails often better represent the content of the video. Let me give you some examples. You know, one thing I didn't expect when YouTube brought in the real-time analytics tools and allowed title and thumbnail changes to affect impressions was that it would also work for older videos. So here is an old video that I originally entitled, Why the Neutron is the Hero of Nuclear Physics. In hindsight, it's a weird, kind of meaningless title. So I changed it to Why Einstein Thought Nuclear Weapons Impossible. It's clearer, more accurate, and this is what happened to views after the change. I changed strange applications of the Magnus effect to backspin basketball flies off dam. Again, more accurate, and the video is now being watched on YouTube. Probably 10 million more views than it otherwise would have had. Even anti-clickbait has proven effective. Here's a video I originally titled, Are Negative Ions Good for You? Which is a question nobody asked ever. Now I changed it to, Do salt lamps work? Seriously. And here's the result. 1.5 million more views. I think looking at these examples, you could easily make the case that YouTube has made me better at what I do. It has improved the clarity and accuracy of my titles and thumbnails. It's helped me figure out what is interesting to my audience and how to encapsulate that in a single image in fewer than 50 characters. For those of you who worry that a focus on titles and thumbnails will prevent me from picking challenging science topics, well, I simply ask you to look at the videos from the last year or two, like the ones on Gödel's incompleteness theorem, general relativity, Penrose tilings, the logistic map, Newton's method of calculating pi, the one-way speed of light. Good titles and thumbnails make it possible to tackle these topics and to reach more people who have never heard of them before. There is a symbiotic relationship between views and video quality. The more views we get, the more people, locations, props, and equipment and research we can invest in. This makes the next video better than the last. If we can be good at titles and thumbnails, the ultimate outcome is better videos. That is something I think you and I both want. Hey, this video is sponsored by KiwiCo, a longtime supporter of the channel.
I got an idea for a video. I'm gonna test the clickbait theory out. I'm gonna title it 10 Reasons. Hold on, I'm thinking. Ten reasons your doctor doesn't want. 10 reasons doctors don't want to treat you. Wait. 10 reasons your doctor doesn't really want to treat you. Yeah. It's gonna be this right here. So you click this video, that means it worked. There's nothing to see here. This was clickbait and it worked. Now get out of here and buy some merch. Or don't. You know what, actually, leave all the dislikes as possible. Thanks. Peace. And there you go, that's the video. I'm gonna clip that right there. And then I gotta remember to get that tomorrow.
Hey everyone, today I created an entire room that I'm going to be painting with the world's brightest paint. So a few videos ago I created an entire room that I painted with the world's blackest paint. And this was pretty awesome, but I have to say after a few days of living in the blackest room, I needed some light in my life. Oh, I can't see anything. Oh, there's a wall. Oh, there's a wall. Oh, there's my favorite corner. Now to create the world's brightest room, the first thing you might think of is to make a mirrored surface. So let's say I made my whole room made out of mirrors. Well, actually mirrors don't reflect that much light. They only reflect around 90 to 95% of light. In fact, that's why they look kind of grayish, is because whatever you see in the mirror is dimmer than what is in real life, and so it's kind of a grayscale to it. Now there is actually something that reflects more light than a mirror, except it doesn't reflect it the way a mirror does. A mirror does it through specular reflection, where it preserves the angle of incidence and you can see where the light came from. But mirrors aren't very good at spreading light around a room. You want diffuse reflection. So the material that actually reflects the most light in the world is called Spectralon. Spectralon is actually the whitest thing in the world. It reflects over 99% of visible light. Now, unfortunately, Spectralon is not actually a paint, so I couldn't make a room out of Spectralon. But even when things are really white, they're not that impressive because you can still see shadows on them. For example, even on Spectralon, you can see where the edges of the disc are. So the next logical thing was to get the world's glowiest paint, or the world's brightest paint. So I went and I bought a bunch of the world's brightest glow-in-the-dark pigment called Lit. Now this Lit pigment is pretty amazing. It's the brightest glow-in-the-dark material you can find. Once you charge it up, it's almost like it becomes its own flashlight. And the coolest thing about this Lit pigment is you don't just have to charge it with only light. You can actually charge it with heat as well. So if you just heat it up a little bit, it actually glows. Now this is going to be amazing because basically, if you're in a slightly warmer room, that means that your walls will always be glowing slightly. And then I decided what I can do is use my 100,000 lumen flashlight and charge up the room and see how bright it actually is without a light bulb on. Now I'm tired of my black room, so let's turn it into a light room. Okay, the first thing I need to do is resurface the old Musu black walls. So I'm going to tear off the black paint and then repaint it white. Okay, the room is now finished. I'm gonna go inside, turn on my 100,000 lumen flashlight, and see how bright it glows. Okay, here we go, let's head in. So, this has not been charged up yet, and it's not warm in here. So this is as dim as it's going to be. Let's charge it up and see what happens. Okay, so you're gonna see a really bright flash of light. I'm gonna be closing my eyes. Let's charge it up, and then turn it off and see what it looks like. Okay, here we go. I'm nervous. 3, 2, 1. Holy cow. This is awesome. Look how bright it is.
That's cool.
This is so cool. It's almost like when you have a black light on with fluorescent walls, how it's glowing, but there's no source of light right now. All of this light is coming from the flashlight that got stored in the pigment, and now it's releasing it slowly. And it'll stay lit like this for hours, actually. Look how bright it is in here. This is so awesome. I love just the glow that doesn't come from any particular source. It's just kind of everywhere around the room. It feels very mystical in here and calming for some reason. Let's try to make a crime scene. Check it out. That's so cool.
It looks like there's somebody
sunk into the floor.
It looks like someone's on the other side.
So it's much easier to find the door in the lit room versus the Muso black room. Okay, the coolest thing is what it looks like through the cracks of the door. You'd think there's this green light bulb in there, but there's nothing illuminating it in here besides the walls itself. So cool. Watch how I can ride on the walls with just a hairdryer. So other than heat, I haven't charged this room at all, and look how bright it still is. I'm just using my iPhone, so it has totally enough light to film in here after being charged with only heat. Now this is cool. So if you keep your room warm enough, you can have a room that glows indefinitely. You don't have to ever charge it with light. What's really neat is even the friction of my finger makes the light a little bit brighter. So the friction's heating it up a little bit, making it glow. Well, that is so cool. That works surprisingly well. Okay, let's see what this looks like when we use our laser light now. I can draw in my room everywhere, ceiling, floor, anything I want. Let's write my name. The Action Lab. Pretty good. Mixture of cursive and non-cursive. So you just get a laser and you can scribble around your room any way you want.
That's cool.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching another episode of The Action Lab. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, and also hit the bell so that you can be notified when I release my latest video. And check out theactionlab.com to see the Action Lab experiment boxes and experiment book. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Some of you may have seen on this channel a video from one Marty Leeds, which culminated in him stating that the 88 keys on a piano divided by the 28 phalange bones in our fingers equals almost pi.
You play these 88 keys with your 28 phalanges, and 88 divided by 28 is 3.142, an approximation and widely used abbreviation of the infinite and transcendental number of pi, or 3.1415.
But 88 divided by 28 is 3.1428.
He sounds like a...
So if we're rounding, that's 3.143.
Like a deeper version of...
Not pi.
Ben Shapiro.
Now, he didn't take that video too well and ended up going live challenging me to an IQ test. Odd, I know. But anyway, he's back, and this time, rather than just mocking his numbers work, I thought I'd take the time to see what it's all about. Hello all, and welcome along to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday with me, Simon Dan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today, a quick thank you to the sponsors of today's video, Babbel. I am notoriously bad at learning other languages, it's well known. And very soon I'm due to go on holiday to Lanzarote for a family holiday. So I thought it's about time that I tried a bit harder. And Babbel is a language app that really works for me. It has some serious structure, which is definitely how I learn best. Building from the beginning and moving forward in dialogue. Using the lessons are built out. Here's tons of one introduce yourself section. Off, just click the link in the description. Right, back to today's video where Marty Leeds is going to introduce us to the science of gematria. We join him as he just about finishes writing the alphabet. I am really eager to learn. Hold on to your hats, people.
Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Okay, so that's the first thing we did in order to build the cipher. No, well, why did we do that in the first place? Why did we take the alphabet and split it in half?
Excellent question. I was just about to ask that myself.
Okay, well, this is where you just have to go out and look at your natural world and what is the world composed of. It's a unity of opposites. It's something that we repeat all the time on this channel because it's necessary to know to help to understand your creation. This is man and woman. This is Occidental and Oriental. This is alkaline and acidic. This is heaven and earth. This is as above and so below. This is spirit and matter, right? This is left and right, forward and reverse, up and down. You know, this is all of those unity of opposites, yin and yang, Shiva and Shakti, Adam and Eve. So this is your creation. This is man and woman. This is Occidental and Oriental. This is alkaline and acidic. This is heaven and earth. This is as above and so below. This is spirit and matter, right? This is left and right, forward and reverse, up and down. You know, this is all of those unity of opposites, yin and yang, Shiva and Shakti, Adam and Eve, you know, whatever, positive and negative, right? Non-primes and primes, external, internal. That's our world. There's always that unity.
What about primary colours, or the number of bones in the human ear, or the little pigs, the triangle, and even 3 feet in a yard? And for Marty's benefit, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. I think I've made a case to split the alphabet into 3 there rather than 2, don't you? We could go crazy and split it into 8, but no. Marty doesn't want to acknowledge spiders, the amount of planets in the solar system, sorry Pluto, and the groups in the periodic table. I think I've made my point.
It's unity of opposites. So the first thing we say is, okay, well, we're going to build our cipher, but it has to be built on things that are once again, demonstrable, verifiable, available to all people, right? Okay, so that's the first thing we did. Now what did we do? We walked up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? Now, before we put any numbers to letters of words, before we say, oh, heaven equals, 23, and that, no, we're not doing that yet. Forget that. Forget all of that, okay? This is a good lesson. I'm glad you asked that, Griffin, or what's your name? Grizzly Bear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you add this up, do you know what it equals? It equals 49. Okay? What's 49? It's 7 squared. So and that's how you actually square a number. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Well, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 is what? Well, it's 3 squared, or 9. Do it with 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 1. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 is what? 16. We know because what? It's 4 squared. So this whole thing right here seems all metaphysical and ooh, it's a cult and stuff. No, it's not at all. It's basic mathematics that children can do.
Okay, but why not put 1 in the middle? Why not go 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? You add all of those up and you get 55. And you know what that is, don't you? 11 times 5. Boom.
And what is that? That's squaring a number. That's how you square a number. So once again, before we put heaven and earth and Jesus Christ and we're going to put a bunch of numbers, no. First, let's look at our foundation. Is this something that is available to all people? In other words, when you square the number 7 and you do this, will you get the same result? Yes, you will. 100% of the time, 100% of the people will get the same result. So that's the first thing of our cipher, right?
Which, of course, is all pseudo-scientific coincidence.
The other thing that our cipher is built on is the number 7. That's the main thing there, right? Is the number 7. This is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 equals 28. Okay,
28 is what? That's right on our hands. Well, so once again, who is that available to? All people. What do you use your hands for? To write the alphabet.
That is a tenuous link if ever I've seen one.
Okay? So now look at this. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 is the triangulation of numbers. That's exactly what we did here and exactly what we did here in order to establish the cipher, which squares numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the cube, okay? So all of this is based on it's Kabbalah. That's exactly what we're dealing with here. So when you look at the opposites, 1 and 6, 2 and 5, and 4 and 3, all resting on 7.
It's a die, a plaything, a device that tells us how many moves to make in the game of Monopoly. That is all.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resting on 7. That's how the cube is. That's exactly the geometry of the cube as well. You have 6 sides becoming one geometric object.
Oh, come on now. That's like me saying I've got £1 million because I'm counting the commas as currency.
6 becoming one geometric object. 6 and 1. So how the cube is set up, how the numbers on the cube are set up universally is exactly how the cipher is built. Squaring numbers, the triangulation of numbers, the mathematics of your hands, the mathematics of a cube. That's all in right there. We're not even done yet, okay?
Isn't it amazing how a bunch of coincidences can create such arrogance? Let me show you what I mean. Now, the alphabet has 26 letters. 5 of those are vowels and 21 of them are consonants. Now, because we mix up the vowels and consonants when we make words, we can multiply 21 by 5 to give us 105. Now, let's break that down further. There are 11 months of the year that have at least 30 days in them. We can discard February because it has less days than the time it takes for a new moon cycle. Now, 11 multiplied by 105 is 1,155. And if we divide that by the 21 consonants from earlier, we get, oh my word, we get 55. You add all of those up and you get 55. Incredible.
We're not even done showing all the things that are encoded in the alphabet in this alphabetic cipher that I got from the Bible. We're not even done with that yet. We haven't even put any numbers to any letters yet, guys. I mean, besides here, I'm saying to spell words or phrases or names or anything like that. We're not there yet. We're not doing that. So the other thing that we have here with this triangulation of 7, mirroring it, we have a mirroring property here. This is exactly what we did with our alphabet. There's the other thing that we're doing with this cipher. We're mirroring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's a mirror, right? And then you say, well, where's mirrors? Well, I don't know. How about right here? How about your entire body is symmetrical?
Good one. Look, I think I'm okay with the basics. Let's move on to something a bit more advanced, Marty.
And I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but it's basically a way that you can map time just with your hands. So if you stick your hands out, towards the horizon, just as you see right there, you can actually count an hour. And so this is an hour hand.
I don't think that's the actual reason, but we'll let him off there.
The hands of the clock. Where do you think it comes from? Your hand. So you put your thumb down and your 4 fingers there as you put it towards the horizon. That's, this is general. This is not exact, but that's an hour. So if you're standing there, you're watching the sunrise and say, go, sunrise is at 6:30. I go like here, it's about 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12.
So are you saying that each finger is worth 3.75 degrees?
A 15 degree per hour drift.
Thanks, Bob. But yes, 3.75 times 4 is 15 degrees.
And as you can see, your fingers are actually 15-minute segments.
Oh my days, it's all adding up. Each finger is 15 minutes of time and all 4 fingers are 15 degrees.
So there's 2 basic ways that you can map the moon, right? And it's a sidereal lunar month and a synodic lunar month, okay? And we're going to look at both of these numbers. But a sidereal lunar month is the length of time it takes for the moon to return to a given star in the sky. And a synodic lunar month is the length of time between new moons. So from new moon to new moon, that period is about 29.5 days. And then the sidereal lunar month is basically the time it takes, about 27.3 days. So when we're looking at integers or whole numbers, right? Essentially, the difference between these 2 numbers is 28.
Marty rounds up or down when it suits him, it appears. The exact difference is 28.415, but hey-ho.
It was very, very close to 28. So you got that sidereal cycle, you got that synodic cycle. You take the mean or average between those two, you got 28. 28 is right on your hands. The phalanges of your hands, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Right? You got 14 right here. Well, what's 14 plus 14? It's 28. So how to determine the most fertile day, and this comes from md-health.com, and it says the first day of a woman's period is taken as the starting point of the cycle, and if the cycle is a 28-day cycle, then the 14th day after a period is estimated to be the ovulation.
Coming up with a number and then attributing that number to various things of the human body in a backwardly engineered way means nothing at all. There are countless things that do not match up with the number 28. It doesn't make them any less relevant, and to be completely blunt, the whole thing is just pure speculation, coincidence and guesswork. Nothing else. There is no scientific grounding in any of it. But do you know what else comes to 28 in your little gematria grid thing there? Genital. Just saying. Look, this is all pretty much harmless, I know, but this man, Marty Leeds, is a flat earther, and who knows what else. We simply must continue to counter this nonsense. I genuinely believe that what I and other channels like me do is a very important part of the internet. And as long as people like Marty Leeds are allowed to spread their nonsense, then I will be there countering it as much as I can. Thank you all so much for watching today. If you enjoyed it, then please do like the video, subscribe as well if the feeling takes you. Just enough time to once again thank Babbel for sponsoring today.
Catch you later.